Look at the weaknesses of others with compassion, not accusation. It's not what they're not doing or should be doing that's the issue. The issue is your own chosen response to the situation and what you should be doing. If you start to think the problem is out there, stop yourself. That thought is the problem. Stephen Covey. If you want others to be happy, practice compassion. If you want to be happy, practice compassion. The Dalai Lama. I'm Stephen Middleton, coming to you from the Possibility Action Network. Our core values include I am, I can, and I will. I am Possibility Man. Today, I want to share on the theme, the power of compassion. I want to first go to the dictionary and share what the dictionary says about compassion. Compassion, showing sympathy and concern for the sufferings or misfortunes of others. And I'm suggesting with the title of my share that there is power in showing compassion. And if you stay with me until the end of the share, I'm going to reveal a power that's even greater than the power of compassion. There is power in showing compassion. The power that in showing compassion benefits the person who receives it. The person who is the object of the compassion of another receives it and it is empowered by it. But there's also power given to the person who shows it. You cannot show compassion to another without getting a lift from it yourself. And I want to share 3 examples of whereby individuals who show compassion and individuals who receive compassion benefited. The first example comes from a book written by Stephen Covey. And this book is entitled The Habits of the Highly Successful People. In it, Stephen Covey talks about a man who was riding a train, let's call it the subway in New York, one afternoon. And he had 3 of his children with him. The children were misbehaving, according to some other people. The children were rambunctious. The children just seemed to have had pent-up energy that they didn't know what to do with it. And some of the passengers on the train began to talk about the man. They began to say things, why doesn't he control his children? Doesn't he see that they're misbehaving? And one of the adults who witnessed this decided that she would approach the man and tell him that he needed to bring his children under control. And the woman spoke with him and told him that. And the man just dropped his head and then told her, yes, I understand. I know that I need to control my children right now. But in this very instant, I know that they're going through something. You see, we just left the hospital and their mother, my wife, just passed away. We are just beside ourselves. We don't know what to do with ourselves, and my children don't know what to do either. The woman, upon hearing this, experienced a shift in her energy immediately. She was able to show the man compassion. She was able to show compassion to his children, something that she could not do early on. You see, she was stuck. Her energy was stuck. And once she got more information, she was able to release that energy and she was able to shift it. She was able to give this man something that he desperately needed at the time, and that was a show of compassion. In my second example, it comes from the arts. And I'm thinking about a show, a TV show back in the early 2000s called 24. And there was this actor, this character named Jack Bauer. Jack Bauer was a tough, rough character in this particular movie. And he knew how to interrogate his suspects. And one evening, he was after a terrorist who he believed was going to be responsible for setting off a bomb. And he believed the imam of a mosque may have information for him. So Jack Bauer went to the mosque and he confronted the imam. And he began to ask him about this terrorist, this alleged terrorist, and imam would not share any information with him. And then when they got to the site, he had the imam with him, and the imam just looked at him and just saw how he was behaving. And the imam said to an FBI agent, "You should be in charge of this investigation because something is not right with this man." And the woman told him a story. He said they had been chasing these terrorists because these terrorists was positioned to release a biological weapon in their city. And that Jack Bauer, the character, had been exposed to it. Jack Bauer was ill. Jack Bauer was not, there was no medical treatment for him. She told the man, she told him that Jack Bauer was going to die. And the man understood that Jack Bauer then was not misbehaving because he was a bad actor. He was acting in a certain way because he was ill. And the man's energy shifted immediately, and he was able to show compassion to Jack Bauer. There's a third example that I want to share with you, and it comes from the scripture. It was about a woman that some of the men in the area had accused of committing adultery. What they really wanted to do was to get the Messiah in a trap concerning this particular woman. And they all said, she had been committed adultery, and that according to the scriptures from old, the woman should be stoned. The scripture said that Jesus simply dropped his head and went to the ground and began to make markings in the dirt. And he said something to the effect, you who have, committed no sin, you cast the first stone. Now, the scripture doesn't say it, but people who have done their dirt would probably lie about it. But in this particular instance, just for the sake of the parable, the scripture says that the man from the oldest of them to the youngest of them, began to walk away because they realized that they had not been pure in their life either. Jesus then was able to turn to the woman and say, "Woman, where are your accusers?" And she said to him, to the effect, "None, Lord, they have all gone away." And he said to the woman, "I am not your accuser either. Go your way, and to the best of your ability, commit no more errors of that particular nature." Now, I did say to you that if you stuck with me to the end, if you're here now, I want to give you a power that's even greater than the power of compassion. And that is the power of self-compassion. The power to give compassion to yourself. You want to see a stuck individual in life? Find one who is unable to give compassion to himself, and I'm using himself generically now. Earlier today, I was just doing something online and I came across a YouTube video with Sylvester Stallone, Rocky Balboa. And he said something that was so interesting to me. He said that, people are generally a little nutty. He said all people are just a little off in the head. that we all have at one time or another a hamster running around in our heads. And if we take that hamster seriously, he said, we will do some crazy things. So people then, human beings, wherever they are on the planet, are going to occasionally have that hamster running around in their head. And if they take that hamster seriously, they're going to say the wrong thing. They may even do the wrong things, because that's just the way human beings work. So human beings then need to be able to show compassion for themselves. Looking at this screen now, I'm filming this in my studio, the Possibility Action Network. And as I'm looking at the image on the screen, it seems like Facebook did something different with this live function. My image is not right. Now, I can go into all kinds of judgment about myself and say, I should not even leave this video up because I'm not willing to give compassion, show compassion to myself. I'll tell you something else about the inability to show compassion for yourself. It's stuck energy. And if you fail to show compassion for yourself, you will not do your best work. If I did not show compassion to myself, I would not do this Facebook video. In fact, I'll be candid with you. I sat on the power of compassion for about, 5 days, 6 days, 7 days. Because I thought, I wondered, why, universe, did you give me this message? And a day or so later, it became clear to me that there's not only power in showing compassion, but the greatest power in the show of compassion is showing compassion for yourself. If this video was helpful to you, share it with someone else. Drop a note in the comment section. Let me know what you got out of it. If there's anything here for you in the power of compassion. I'm Stephen Middleton, coming to you from the Possibility Action Network. Our core values include I am, I can, and I will. I am Possibility Man. Until next time, good day